Hey everyone, welcome to Our Small Footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. It is Sunday, and normally I do a Sunday chat. Sunday squirrel, I tend to call them, because I have a tendency to squirrel off. So, Sunday, trying to get back into the swing of things. I have been a bit slack lately, so we're still working on it. I still have a cold. It's still just worst first thing in the morning, last thing at night, that sort of thing. Driving me a bit nuts, but it's tolerable. I'm not overly sick. I didn't end up taking anything for it because it never seemed to progress to anything, but it's just been uncomfortable for like weeks now. So Sunday, what do we need to do? I am going to make some hamburger rolls for dinner, so I'm going to pull that out in a second and I'll do that. I was going to chat about the banana flour, banana powder. So I got all the feedback from that video the other day and chatting with people in the comments and stuff. So when I purchased it, the gentleman who I purchased it from said it was 100% banana powder, called it powder, and that it was baby food grade. So my assumption was that it was like dehydrated fruit, like, you know, banana fruit. And then when I was doing all the experimentation with it, it doesn't taste particularly sweet. It has almost a... Well, one of the porridges that I did, the choc banana porridge that I did the kids, they commented that there was a bit too much cinnamon in it. There was no cinnamon in it because I don't put cinnamon in choc banana. I only put it in apple and things like that. And so it's got a little bit of a tang to it, a little bit of a, it's not quite a bitterness, but it definitely has this flavour to it that isn't banana, but is similar to when you open up a banana that's green and eat it, and it has that kind of not quite right flavour. So the assumption that I'm going to work under is that it's green banana flour rather than ripe banana powder. Which is fine. It was free. In the end, it was free, so we're not going to be complaining about any of this, are we? We're just going to have to pivot a little bit on what I had intended to use it for. So it's not so great as a banana milk, but it works fine in the smoothies, and it thickens them up really nicely. It's a good thickener for that. It worked fine in the Ninja Creamy ice cream. They were happy with that. Again, it's a whole lot of other sweetness added into it, so you've got that banana flavour in the background, but you've got the sweetness in the forefront. The porridge was fine. They finished that porridge. I need to make another batch of that. They were happy with the porridge, so that's good. And obviously it had enough banana flavour, but again, enough other bulking, creamy, smooth, sweet ingredients in there that it took the edge off that hint of not quite pleasant that the banana powder on its own has. But I have been doing some research about using green banana flour in certain things. There's a fair few savoury recipes for it, which wasn't exactly what I had intended, but we will give them a go. Honest to Goodness has a green banana flour brownie, so I might give that a go. I'm not going to do it right now because it's got coconut oil and honey and stuff in it, and everything is solid because it's cold. It was -4 this morning when I got up. So I'd have to heat it all, and I'm really not there today. The kids have ice cream left still, and I just noticed there's a whole pot of popcorn on the stove that they must have cooked last night. They put a lid on it so it can be eaten today. And everyone's at church other than the twins. The twins stay home with me most weekends, and the other kids go to church. There's enough room in the car for everyone, and it's the other kids who are more wanting to go at the moment. So the twins stay home with me, and we do stuff together. So they're hanging some washing out for me actually at the moment. And so yes, I wanted to show you, we've started putting all our bookcases and everything together too, so I'm going to take you inside and show you that as well. But that was the updates on the banana powder, because I just wanted to discuss that, since I had discussed it in comments with lots of people, but I hadn't necessarily hit, you know, feedback for everyone, because I do tend to miss comments because there's just a bit too many for me to keep up with these days. So yes, there's that. So I do need to make more instant porridge, and the kids need smoothie pops and stuff too. Might not make it a Sunday job though. Maybe we'll make it for tomorrow. We'll get in nice and early and get started because it is already 11 o'clock. So I also need to sort some lunch out. I have been filming a what we eat in a week, so I tend to do lunches and dinners and stuff in snippets for that. I always find them difficult to to film because I forget to show finished meals for a start, but I have to remember to turn the camera on for cooking a meal even if I haven't been filming anything else. So we'll see how we go with that, but we have some leftovers, bits and pieces from the last few days, so I'm going to try and pull something together with that for lunch. But I did pull out mince for hamburgers for dinner tonight, so I'm going to get the hamburger dough sorted. It's cool, so it's going to need a little while to proof and double and then bake, and then cool a little bit before we eat them, because it's always better to cut bread when it's cooler than when it's hot. So we'll get that done, started, and then I'll see where we want to go. Everyone always enjoys watching me work with dough, so it's always a good reason to do it on a Sunday, because then I can chat while I'm working the dough. So let's put it together. All right, standard brioche, light brioche roll recipe. I don't like eggs in my brioche. The recipe is on the website for this one. One of the very few things that I've managed to get up on the website. I boiled a kettle, so we got some warm water because we're going to add some coconut cream and stuff that is cool, and the temperature is low today. So we're going 720-ish worth of hot water and 180-ish worth of your choice of milk or cream to bring it up to about the 900 mark. Adding some fat into that dough. We're going to add 20 grams of yeast and 20 grams of salt. Yes, I preemptively filled my salt for that one. We're going to add 150 grams of ghee or oil. Again, we're bumping the fat content so it's more of a brioche. This is not overly sweet. Someone mentioned the other day that they don't like sweet. I'm hitting the wrong buttons. I got new scales and I hit the wrong buttons. They don't like overly sweet rolls. These are not actually very sweet. They have the amount of sugar that they have in them helps the browning of the dough and gives it a slightly sweeter hint to it, but it's definitely not not even quite a milk bun that you'd get in a commercial style sort of a brioche roll. It definitely has the same texture. It's a tight crumb, soft, with the extra fat and stuff in there, and the nice sort of crispy browned top on it because of the sugar, but everything's solid. But it's not a sweet roll, so you don't have to worry about that. But you can also reduce the sugar. Like I use up to 150 grams of sugar in this batch, and this batch of dough does 30 odd rolls, I suppose. I don't know, 32 I think it makes. So when you spread that out, it's not very much, and you can obviously just reduce this to your taste or none at all. It does help the dough though to rise in cooler weather, and it does help give it that really thin but crunchy type crust, which is the sugars cooking it as well. Anyway, personal preference, and I think I'd go through all that on the website too. And then we're going, and I've just hit the wrong button again. Going to take some getting used to. And then we're going to add about 1,250 to 1,300 grams of baker's flour. You can swap out some all-purpose flour in here if you want, which will make the crumb a little bit softer, a little less chewy, but I like to just do it all in one flour just to make my life easier. And then we're just going to throw this on the KitchenAid to knead. All right, dough is kneaded for 5 or so minutes. And we're just going to get it into a container proof. Now, the brioche dough, I say this every time, it's quite a loose, wet dough. But once it proofs, it becomes a lot easier to handle. And being a brioche or a hamburger bun, you want it sort of loose because that helps the texture work for a hamburger bun type thing, like a soft one rather than too chewy. So it'll look a little loose, a little slack, a little hard to work with. initially, but as it proofs, it'll be fine. And you can just always add a little bit of flour as needed. So I've just slightly sprayed the Canberra container with a bit of oil, and then we're going to put this aside to proof, to double, and then I'll shape into balls. While that's doing that, I might go inside and show you the progress that we've made with the furniture and stuff like that. My hair is a frizzy mess at the moment. I washed it and then slept on it damp, and it's... Anyway. So yeah, I'll show you that. We have finally started getting this space rearranged now. It always gets worse before it gets better, and I'm aware, but it's still slightly just not real pleasant for sharing, but we're finally getting there. So we got Darryl's desks all set up into his little hutch. We've been 3D printing some decorative type items for different things that we're still working on, and his space is there. And then we've got the bookcases starting to get together. So we bought 6 of these Billy bookcases all up. We wanted 4 of them along this wall here. Again, they're not full yet. We're still working on it. But that gives Darryl a backdrop for when he's streaming and stuff too. So behind his thing. And then there was an extra one over here that has ended up filled with just anything and everything because of the moving. Blue one again is just full of whatever needs to be moved. This was the shelving setup that I got for the 3D printers. So again, that is work in progress. We've got all the filament containers and everything that I'm still working on and printing, and all the setup for that going there. And then I got myself a bookcase as well. Again, it's full of just mostly the school stuff for the kids at the moment, which will get moved over to the other side once we get it all sorted. But this bookcase just ended up full of anything and everything initially because it was the only one I had, and my desks got set up, but we're still work in progress of figuring out the systems required for everything. So it's still, you know, getting there. But I have drawers now, which is nice because I haven't had drawers in a long time. So being able to stash stuff in drawers. So the 3D printers are going. We got a second one in the end of financial year sale, super cheap without all the extras, just with a single spool. So we've been using that. I've got these just printed out, which are supports for inside these filament buckets, which are IKEA buckets. They have little stands on the inside that hold the filament, and then a silica beads and a hygrometer so that you can make sure that the filament is kept dry, because our environment is very, very moist. So it's 16 degrees in here at the moment, and these boxes are 10%. But if I look at one here, this one is, I haven't changed it to Celsius, but it's 43% humidity in just the ambient air. So we keep them to under 10 in the containers so that they can be used. So we got a second one when we did that. My bedroom is still just full of stock. This is all the frames and everything all piled up. Again, it's all getting moved, but at least we've got this sorted. We also have almost got the pot belly squared away. We need to put some metal up behind it, and we need a couple of angles for the for the flue as well, because we want to go out the wall, not out these brand new roofing panels that we've got. So we're going to go out the wall there. So we need some 45-degree angles, which we have ordered, but they aren't in stock at the moment. So once we get that, we will get that sorted, and we can get that and this space here sorted as well. The Year-Soul exercise bike that I still haven't done the proper video on, and is very, very naughty of me. But we've got that set up in the right spot to use now too, with Darryl with his backing on his desk, so that we can do the decorative elements on this side. So it's all coming together. I've got the laser engraver set up here. I actually got sponsored with a new laser engraver, which is amazing because it's so much bigger than the last one, which will be great for those family trees. I'm going to print up a family tree this week, and I'll take a whole bunch of footage of that. And the old laser engraver is on a shelf over that way at the moment, and it will be used for all my vinyl and everything else, so that I can have one set up with a blade, and then this one set up purely for laser. So that's exciting as well. So yeah, we're slowly getting it all sorted. I got my desk where the light, so you can, right in front of me here, which is why the lighting's good here, is the French doors. So it means that where I can sit on one side of my desk, I can do all my artwork and everything else with great lighting. And yeah, we're getting there. It's still a bit chilly because we haven't got the pot belly, and there's all this solid wall between this part of the house and that part of the house, which has the fireplace in it. And then this end piece here, again, it's temporary, we sealed it up, but we actually have 3 meters more that we could take it that way, and we think we'd really like to, because I'd like to do a bit of a art room for the kids. I'd like to have like a room that's all the walls are bookcases with all their schoolwork and all their art supplies and everything else, and then just a big table in the middle for them to use for puzzles, for art, for school, for whatever they want to do, so they're not always sitting at their computer desks. So all sort of, everything's at some point. But anyway, I thought I'd give you an update. So we finally got some of the things. And then with the 3D printers too, we've been printing a lot of practical stuff too, which doesn't always get shared. But these little clips here are printed. I don't want to pull one off because once they're on there solidly, but they hold the Billy bookcases together. So the bookcases are attached at the top with L brackets to the wall, but then to keep them all nicely lined up as well, we've got these in here. So and we've got miscellaneous things. This is a headphones holder for Sonnet that's in progress of a side arc, and then we've got stormtroopers and all sorts of bits and pieces that we've made from the 3D printer as we've gone along as well. Simple things that are really practical. This is a tissue box that you put roll of toilet paper in. So I don't buy normal tissues. I only buy toilet paper, and we use it, good quality toilet paper. And this has the ability to put a roll of toilet paper in there and use it as a tissue box. So, I did laptop stand, bunches of bits and pieces, but we're still working on the actual, arts, crafts aspect of selling the stuff that we want to do to sell, to mix with the laser engraver as well as the 3D printer. And it's all an ongoing process. Slowly but surely, progress, not perfection, and all that. So, alrighty, I'm going to sit down and get this printer printing again, get another load going on while that dough proofs, and then I'll come out there and I have to discuss what I'm doing, groceries and picking up the new car and things like that. It's still all a bit up in the air, so I will get this done first and then I'll head out there. Dough stubbled. All right, slightly wet brioche dough, so we're going to use the flour on the board to just make it more handleable, just like normal. It will still require a bit of flour because it'll be a bit tacky because it's a wet dough. I'm going to do, what are we doing, hamburgers. So normally I do them at 90 grams each because I want them to flatten out for the hamburger patties. So I'm going to weigh them out. Don't have to weigh them, you can guesstimate. I just like to weigh them because then they all end up the same. I end up with the same quantity each time, and they cook at the same rate. So 90 grams, dip the outside in a little bit of flour, gently pinch. Use a bit more flour if needed. It's a wet dough, as I said, so sometimes it'll need some more. And then we just want to shape into a roll like this, and we're going to put them on the baking tray. And then I will, as I get to the end, I will flatten them out slightly so they proof in sort of a hamburger-y shape. So all I'm going to do is get 90-gram batches, dip them in a little bit of flour on the outside, bring all the sticky stuff to the inside so the flour is the bit that you're touching, and shape them a little bit more flour if needed. If they're sticking to your hand, shape them into balls and place them on the baking tray. So I'm just going to go through and do all of these up. And then they will do their second proof. All right, so Darryl was chatting to me while I was doing this, so I didn't do my other chat before, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these in the oven, and then I might go outside somewhere and do the rest of the chatting. So these have had their second proof. I've got just an egg whisked up here. I just need a pastry brush. Now I've pushed these down slightly because I want them slightly flat, so all I'm going to do now is just put a bit of an egg wash on them, which just makes them look pretty. It doesn't really do anything else. And I've got 2 trays full. The other tray actually has an extra row. So what have we got? 3, 6, 9, 12 and 15. So we've got 27. So, you know, I said 30 odd. That's around about right. At this size, I think yeah, see, sometimes I make them in the 70 sort of gram for like slider type things, and that might be where I get more. But, and then I've got sesame seeds. I still haven't done my everything bagel, which is always really nice on these too. And I still haven't mixed that up, but there we go. So we're just going to throw these in the oven that's just been turned on, and I've got the second tray to do the same. So just going to gently press them down. They will pop back up once they hit the heat, but this gives them a little bit, I like them just that little bit flatter. And then same deal. All right, my mic's going flat, so I'm just going to charge that and then I will come back. All right, so rolls are done. I'll put a photo in here, and they will be dinner tonight. Darryl was chatting to me. I got sidetracked and then I had to charge my mic and I've forgotten where I'm up to. But so what else did I need to share today? So normally I was actually planning on doing groceries this week, which is 6 weeks from the last one. Except that we have the car from Andrea to sort. So it hit Brisbane last week. My uncle got a roadworthy certificate done for me so that I can do the transfer of registration. But I have to pick it up. Now, I wasn't real sure how I was working that, whether someone was driving it out to me or what was going on. But it looks like what I'm going to do is catch a bus from town on Tuesday. There is buses that run twice a week from town to Brisbane. Tuesday evening, catch it to Mum's place, stay at Mum's overnight on Tuesday night, and then on Wednesday do all the Queensland Transport stuff that I have to do. And I will do groceries the week after instead, which is fine because we've been doing those groceries for 8 to 10 weeks for so long now that it's only been 6 weeks. We've still got plenty, and because we did the bulk meat order as well, so there's still plenty of food. We even still have some oranges and some apples and carrots, I think, and a couple of cabbages. So we're doing fine with any of that, and plenty of stuff on the shelves and all the rest of it, because I probably overbought last shopping trip just because of the whole change of timing, and I struggled with it all and everything else. So I wanted to bring the shopping back to 4 to 6 weeks for produce purposes. In winter, the produce lasts a bit longer. I think we have run out of potatoes. The potatoes that we had didn't get covered and they're all very, very green. But we've got plenty of veggies in the freezer. And I think I've even got some roast potatoes in the freezer as well. So that's fine. And yeah, plenty of veggies in the freezer, plenty of food to do us. Haven't run short on flour, haven't run short on ghee. There's a few things. We got no soy sauce. There's a couple of small things that we've run out of, but nothing significant. So dragging that out another week is not going to be a big deal, and I just can't see any other way around it. Because the car has stuff in it for a start. Andrea sent a whole bunch of art supplies for Sonnet up in the back of the car. But also I'd need at least one esky to do a shopping trip, even if I'm not buying meat because of the bulk meat orders. There's still things like frozen veggies and cheeses and things like that. So it's just not going to work this week doing it in conjunction, and we need to get the car sorted and back here so that we can get the Ranger fixed, and it's anyway. So it looks like, I'll probably go to Brisbane on Tuesday, stay overnight and get the car sorted on Wednesday, come back on the Wednesday, and then do the shopping trip the next week instead. I think that's how it's going to work. So I won't plan the groceries or anything this week because I will wait to see till next week what we do need and what we don't, and plan exactly how I want to work that. I did miss, when I did the meat order, there was no chicken thighs. And I did have a couple of trays in the freezer, which were fine to get me by, and we got plenty of other chicken stuff, but I do not have much in the way of that. So I have to decide whether I'll do another, the bulk meat order. The only problem is that it's it's from $70 to $120 for delivery out this way, which is fine if I'm ordering, 10 boxes worth of stuff. It's spread out per kilo. I think it ended up being like 69 cents per kilo across the board for the previous order, but I wouldn't do that size order this quickly again. So I'll have to have a think about that and decide, maybe speak to my neighbour in case she wants anything as well, and see how I go with that. But otherwise, I'll just buy some pork roasts. And see, I don't have any beef mince at the moment either. I did contemplate trying the bog meat place for their beef trim to use for mincing, but I didn't end up doing it. So, and again, the things that need eskies and stuff, and so I have to decide whether I'm going to take the trailer with the new car, which is fine. The new car has a tow ball and is capable of pulling the trailer. I checked all that before I accepted the car. But yeah, I have to have a think about it and figure out exactly how I want to do it. So there's that. What else did I need to update? Oh, I was going to share a photo. Darryl has spoken to a few people in passing when he went to Synod and the Winter Liturgy and stuff. He did some of the service. He is a liturgical assistant now. I think that's right. And is starting his Cert 4 this semester in theology and stuff. So he was part of the service, and he got one of the ladies there took some photos of him in his gear for the service. So I'll put that in here to share. What else has been going on? Not a whole lot. I think I said in passing the other day, I was talking about the gardens and stuff, and we're coming up to the point of the year where we're going to start having to think about starting seeds and stuff like that. Our 1st of September is when spring is officially starts here, but generally speaking, we still get frosts in September, and I can't plan out until October, so I've got a bit of time up my sleeve. But I don't know how much seedlings and that I'm going to do this year. Every year I try and get this garden going, and every year I end up disappointed because I just don't have the time or the resources to do it. The lack of water setup is an issue, and we still haven't got there, and Darryl hasn't done the rest of the covers for the gardens yet either. So I will see how I go. But I had decided that maybe I'd let the garden slide a little bit this year and just plant some flowers and some perennials and stuff like that, rather than trying to focus on it, because there's just so much else going on. And while I have the ability to go into Brisbane every 4 to 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is, and buy bulk fruit and veg at a good price, maybe I just let that sort of slide as something to work towards, but still not focus as heavily on this year. We'll see how we go with that. I haven't decided entirely what I want to do there. But that might be a thing. Can you hear the geese? I'd imagine you can hear the geese. I have no idea what they're going on about. Anyway, so there's that. I was going to talk about the diet to a degree too. So for people who've been around, we've been doing sort of a keto carnivore style diet, and not the kids, just Darryl and I. And Darryl is sticking with it pretty closely. He is happy to just have a piece of steak for every meal, if that's what it takes. I have been more leaning back towards what I used to do, which is everything in moderation. I have been a bit more mindful about what I'm eating, and because I'm cooking Darryl keto carnivore meals, then I'm eating less carbs than I would normally, because I'm eating that with him. I'm trying to be mindful about the quantity of carbs that I do eat and things like that. And, but I pretty much, we started it in October of last year, and we were pretty strict all the way through to May, June. So we're talking like 8 months of it. And Darryl dropped weight, lost weight, and was feeling heaps better, and went off a bunch of his meds and all the rest of it. I obviously dropped some fluid and things like that, but I didn't feel any better. And if anything, it just frustrated me with the restrictions on food. And that's not a good way to be either. So for me, more just going into moderation of being aware of what I'm eating and making sure that I don't overindulge and things like that. And naturally reducing the carbs and everything else, because I cook for Darryl. And so, if he has steak and veggies for dinner, or just steak for dinner, sometimes I have just steak for dinner. And other times I've cooked something for the kids and I have some of that. So that's how we're going along with that too. I think that's about all I need to update for at the moment. We're just plodding along as per usual, and it's been a rough few weeks. I always say I'm grateful for everything that has occurred, all the positives that have occurred, and I share all those positives because it's amazing. We've got the commission coming in from the 10 Thermomix sales sometime next week as well, which is just going to slot straight into the savings account for the moment, but it's there to use. And for project work and things like that, and super grateful for it all. I don't tend to share a lot of the negative because it's not stuff that I can or want to share, and it's been a bit of a rough few months, and it makes it difficult sometimes to update things whilst also bypassing things, because I try not to curate myself too much. I try and be as forward as possible, but I protect the kids' privacy and I protect some of our family privacy, and some of the stuff is just irrelevant to you guys. It's just not needed to know. So, you know, it's been a bit rough, and we're pushing through, but I am grateful for all the positives that have happened in the last few weeks too, and getting this car will be amazing, and I am forever grateful to Andrea for thinking of us when she was looking for a new home for it. So we will get that sorted, and I'll share that once it happens. And otherwise, I don't know what I'm sharing. This last week I think I said I need to do my bagel seasoning, and I still haven't done it, but I also have a miso that I need to start. So I need to start some miso fermenting, because you want to start it in the colder weather. It's not ready for ages, but you want to start it in the colder weather, so the fermentation starts in the colder weather, finishes in the hotter weather. So I need to do that this week to get it started. I need to soak the soybeans and stuff before I can do that, but that needs to be shared as well. And we're still working with that banana powder. We may be working with that banana powder for a long time to come. But anyway, I'll leave it there, and I will see you guys on the next video. And thank you so much to everyone for watching.